Hello friends, Stacy Anfinson here with your July 2024 market update. Four main counties of Wake, Durham, Orange, and Johnson. Let's see what happened during the month. End of month inventory is a familiar chart from which we've seen over the past couple of months. The red line is end of month resale inventory. The blue line is end of month total inventory. Kind of good news, bad news here. End of month total inventory, if you look here to the right, up 50% compared to where we were in July of last year. However, total resale inventory, while it was also up a nice percentage, is down 75% compared to where we were in 2010. One of the things I like to do with these graphs, as I mentioned in previous reports, is provide you with perspective. The national media is probably going to chop this graph off at 2021 and present it to the right, and they're going to use this to fulfill their housing price bubble narrative. 50% increase in inventory is a really flashy headline, but if you go back to where we were in 2010, we're still 75% below. And oh, by the way, I didn't put the old population graph up here, but you all know that population has increased dramatically since that time. So keep this in mind if you're ever out in public or talking to the media and they're trying to push against you on the housing bubble narrative. Tell them that we are still well below inventory that we need. A little bit of a new graph this month. I used this last month and I added the orange bar for months of housing supply. The blue line is the combination of the end of month listings and new listings added. The gold line is the number of pending plus sold listings, and then the orange line is months of housing supply. So let's call blue line as supply and let's call orange line as demand. And you can see in 2018 and 2019, they were in line, but look what happens. The gold line demand starts to outstrip the blue line supply. And what happens to months of housing supply? Boom, goes all the way down to less than 1 month. Now, all of a sudden, since 2021, we're getting some uptick in inventory. Demand still downward trend, and as you can see these lines now, all of a sudden we're starting to get more inventory. Demand is kind of flattened out. So what do you have? You have an increase in months of housing supply. So we got to get this back to a normalized market, which is typically 4, 5, or 6 months. That works better for everybody, I guess, unless you want 2 or 3% per month increase in house price metrics, which works great for sellers but does not work well for buyers. So digest that graph. July months of housing supply, we're going to go all the way back to 2007 on this one. You can see that looking back to 2015, look at 2014 was the last month that we had a balanced months of supply in July. So if you go from 2015 to 2024, it's the 10th consecutive July with an undersupply of housing. Here we go to July average sales price resale sold listings. Well, shocker, if you have 10 months of consecutive undersupply of housing, what are you going to have? You're going to have an increase in house price metrics. The metric for July of this year versus July of last year is up 3%, but if you go all the way back comparing July of this year with July of 2018, up a big old 78%, as if you heard me many times. That is called wealth creation. Sold listings also go back to 2007. Good news is we at 2020 we peaked at about 35, a little over 3,500, and then we 1, 2, 3 consecutive down years. But guess what? We had a good month. We had a good July. It was up 1% compared to where we were in July of last year, down 38% against the peak. But once again, if you go back, if you take this 22-24 and you drive it across, we actually beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, 5 Julys dating back to 2007. So I'm going to take that as a positive. A lot of reasons before that. So anyway, let's take a look at July listings, average days on market. Once again, this is well below where we were prior to 2014. Pretty much 36 this year versus 36 of last year. That's what we call pretty a stable trend. Average sales to original list price ratio. Once again, these were go-go years, 2021 and 2022, 105 and 103. Now we're finally getting back to the 100 to 99 and 98%, which, as you can see, starting from 2016, is really a normalized sales to original list price ratio metric. Now we always like to put things on a monthly payment plan. You can see what's happened to housing. This is actually interesting. If you look at and how this is calculated, I take the average resale sales price, and then I apply the 30-year average fixed rate mortgage to it, and I come up with the principal and interest. This does not include taxes, does not include insurance. So interesting this year, if you look at July's PI, which is a little over 3,500, it's actually down 4% compared to where it was in July of last year. But if you go to this bar here, which is June of 24, it's up 8%. So you can say that house prices on a P&I basis are cheaper than they were last year, but more expensive than they were in January. So it just goes to show you the dynamics when mortgage rates decrease and house price metrics increase. So it certainly influences these two. We're going to wrap things up. July end of month inventory up 50%. New listings added during the month were up 11%. Both of those are positive trends. July sold listings were up 1%. But if you go back to a 7-year July average, they were down 24%. Once again, bullet point 3 has not changed. Months of housing supply and undersupply territory still favorable for sellers. Downward trend monthly absorption should increase future supply, so we're hopeful for that. And then 4, sales to original list price ratio trending back to historical norms. We like that. The July monthly PI down 4% compared to July of last year, but up 8% compared to January of this year. So once again, services that I provide: appraisals, mortgage, relo, attorneys, sellers, buyers, TAR report and consulting. All those I have capacity for, and as always, I appreciate the referrals that you've given me and the referrals in the future that you will give me. And that is all I have for now. We will see you next time. So once again, if you like this, hit the like button. You want subscription information, go to tarreport.com. So once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.